Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages. It's that time once again. It's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and you are locked in for an hour of fun times. We have a big show today. In fact, I may just turn the lights off halfway through the show and do this old school, mild style uh, with the Patriot philosopher style, where I turn off the lights and we have a deep dive into a particular topic and into a particular way that a narrative affects a nation. Because we're going to be getting into it deep. I hope you folks brought your sewer boots, because we're going to be wading through all kind of sewage on the show today. If you are out there with your sewer boots on, please say hello in the chat. Please feel free to come in, say hi. If you do, I'll go ahead and show your comment on the screen and give you a little shout out and a toast, unless you ask otherwise. Going to be drinking a little Jefferson's Ocean tonight. Might be trying to finish off what's little bits left in this bottle. Gonna be drinking a little Jefferson's Ocean. Oh, there's a tiny bit left. So maybe if we can all tell a friend to tune in, and enough people come in and say hi, we might be able to knock the rest of this off tonight. Because we're gonna be going deep, folks. We're gonna be going so deep, and I'm definitely hoping you folks are telling a friend, hoping you're spreading the word, hoping you're clicking that like button and helping us out in the algorithm. But if you're out there, cheers and welcome. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. But yeah, we have an interesting show today. We're going to be talking a lot about the differences between Trump and Harris and some of the media narratives surrounding them. We're going to be talking heavily about protests here. I'm going to be talking about various protests that have been happening around the world since our last show. And we'll go ahead and start with that right now. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. Bear with me just a second. So this is from Kevin Scott, Politico NYX on Twitter. I have a friend in Venezuela. I'll be short. Protests are breaking out. They asked to share what it is like for them. I'm going to make a thread because their reception is poor and the multiple posts are getting excessive. Sorry. So if you're not familiar with what's going on in Venezuela, they recently had another election. The populist candidate, let's see, let me try to remember what his name was. In fact, let me just bring up the New York Times here. Maduro declared winner in flawed Venezuelan election. The result, which would give Maduro 6 more years as president, was disputed by the opposition, and the United States says it has serious concerns. Venezuela's authoritarian leader, Nicolas Maduro, was declared the winner of the country's tumultuous presidential election early Monday, despite enormous momentum from an opposition movement that had been convinced that this was the year it would oust Maduro's socialist-inspired party. The vote was riddled with irregularities, and citizens were angrily protesting the government's actions at voting centers as the results were announced. With 80% of voting stations counted, the country's election authority claimed Mr. Maduro had received 51.2% of the vote, while the main opposition candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, had received 44.2%. Maduro's government has invented election results before, and this tally was immediately called into question by the opposition and by several officials in the region. We won and the whole world knows it, the country's most popular opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, told reporters in Caracas early Monday. She declared the result impossible, giving information her team had collected about the turnout. And yes, I'm talking about this on YouTube, so, yeah, RIP channel. Hopefully it doesn't get taken down. We're still up as of right now, it appears. But yeah, so they have fortification going on in Venezuela. From what I understand, a lot of the opposition leaders, including Edmundo Gonzalez and Maria Machado, have now been arrested. And yeah, they've been having protests. Well, I'll go ahead and share some of these videos here. Firing guns in the air, people wrestling with cops. Go ahead and... barricades, flaming barricades.
No, ya se me olvidó.
People dancing in the street while things are on fire. The crowd's gathering. There are other videos I've been seeing the last few days. I actually just brought this up at the last minute before the stream because I did want to touch on the idea of protest here. One of the memes I've seen come out of this Venezuela craziness is that essentially you can vote yourself into communism, but you are unable to vote yourself out of communism. It's just not possible. So you have to be careful what you do at the polls, folks. And we'll be addressing that a little bit later, what you're going to do at the polls here. Meanwhile, there have been protests in Israel the past few days. There are protests that have been happening in Israel the last few days. Apparently, there were some soldiers where it was alleged that they had sexually abused Palestinian prisoners. So we got this probe of soldiers over alleged sexual abuse fuels tension between Israeli military and hardliners. A military court opened an initial hearing Tuesday for 9 soldiers detained over what a defense lawyer said were allegations of sexual abuse of a Palestinian at a shadowy facility where Israel had held prisoners from Gaza during the war. The investigation has stoked tensions between the military command and hardline nationalists in Netanyahu's government, who advocate an even harsher hand in Israelis' conduct of the 10-month-old war. The soldiers' detention Monday triggered angry protests by supporters demanding their release, including members of parliament and at least 2 government ministers. On Monday, several hundred protesters broke into the facility in southern Israel known as Sde Timan, and then later on to the military base where the soldiers were being held. A video showed them scuffling with troops before being forced out. A defense attorney who's representing 3 of the soldiers, Nati Rom, said they were innocent and described the alleged abuse they're accused of committing as, quote, acts of sodomy. When your lawyer is saying you committed acts of sodomy, then I don't understand how your lawyer could also say you are innocent. The military has given no details on the investigation, saying it was only looking into allegations of substance abuse. An investigation by the AP and reports by rights groups have exposed abysmal conditions and abuses at Sde Timan. A report issued in April, the main UN agency for Palestinian refugees, UNRWA, said Palestinians released from detention and sent back to Gaza reported instances of being forced to be stripped naked and photos taken of them naked and of beatings on the genitals. Report did not specify the facility where those detainees were held. One detainee said he was forced to sit on an electrical probe that burned his anus. They also reported beatings with iron bars, gun butts, and boots. UNRWA said, adding that many of the returned prisoners had to be hospitalized due to injury or illness. So this goes on and on and on. But the important thing to note here is that you have Israelis taking to the streets, clashing with their own military to defend their military's quote-unquote right to sexually abuse Palestinian prisoners. We have video of them trying to break into the facility. All right, folks, there you have it. Look, if you're protesting in a pro sexual assault situation, just don't. Look, are we the baddies? That's what people need to be asking themselves. Are we the baddies? And I'm going to ask that of myself a little bit later when we get to our main topic. Please stay tuned for that because I'm going to go deep. I'm going to deep dive our main topic. You probably, you know what our main topic is because you've seen the title of the video. If you've been anywhere near the internet, saw any of the news today, you know exactly what we're going to be discussing, but you don't know how I'm going to address it. So please stay tuned for my rant for that. Okay, one last protest we're going to talk about is what the hell is happening to the UK. We got this from Sky News. What we know about Southport mass stabbing at the Children's Taylor Swift workshop. And so this is 3 children have died and several other people remain in the hospital after a mass stabbing in Southport on Monday. The whole country is shocked by the attack, the Prime Minister said in a statement. Emergency services and a nearby hospital was declared a major incident after reports of the stabbing and a number of reported casualties. Merseyside police were called to reports of a stabbing at a property on Hart Street, Southport, north of Liverpool at about 11:50 a.m. Monday. Chief Constable Serena Kennedy said the offender armed with a knife walked into the premises and started to attack the children. She added that officers were shocked when they arrived at the scene, finding several children had been subjected to a ferocious attack. The attack took place at a community center called the Heart Space, often used for mother and baby classes in Merseyside town, Sky News understands. A Taylor Swift yoga and dance workshop aimed at children between primary school years 2 and 6, which is 7 to 11 years old, was taking place at the time. As a mum and a nana, I can't begin to imagine the pain and suffering the families of the victims are going through, Chief Constable Serena Kennedy said. Here's what we know about the victims. 3 children were killed. 6-year-old BB King, 7-year-old Elise Stancombe, and 9-year-old Alice da Silva Aguiar. So, I'm going to take just a moment of silence. I'm going to scroll through the pictures of these 3 young girls and gonna give a little silence in their remembrance and a toast. So, to BB, Elise, and Alice, you were innocent. You were innocent. And whatever rage this monster felt, you were not responsible for it. We can only hope that the horrors of the world we live in, that you fell victim to, the horrors that you had to face, the monster residing within the belly of humanity, that were to dare take out its rage on 3 innocent, growing, learning lives with bright futures ahead of them, cut short by heinous anger that should have been directed at himself. I hope that the horrors you had to face and the horrors we see on a daily basis with news stories like this and in neighborhoods and cities and towns across the world, the things we just reported on happening in other countries. The only solace we can take is to hope that you three young, innocent ladies are now able to continue on, hopefully, in the afterlife, with God watching over you, free from the horrors and the monstrosity, the evil that humans do. And that this, hopefully, was the only time you will ever have to witness and fall victim to those kind of horrors. God bless you and Godspeed. BB and Elise died on Monday and Alice in the early hours on Tuesday. Alice would have turned 10 in October. Her family said, "Keep smiling and dancing like you love to do, our princess, like we said before to you, and you're always our princess and no one would change that. Love from your hero, Daddy and Mummy." BB's family said, "No words can describe the devastation that has hit our family as we tried to deal with the loss of our little girl." Police said 8 other children suffered stab wounds during the attack, and 5 of them are still in critical condition. 2 adults are also in critical condition after being injured. We believe that adults who are injured are bravely trying to protect the children who were being attacked, she says. Now look, I do not want to get into a propaganda. I do not want to preach to people about politics, but dear God, if you live in an area that allows you to carry and you are a responsible enough person to be able to carry a gun, dear God, please carry a gun. If you're an angry, impulsive individual, don't carry a gun. But somebody, there has to be adults who are able to protect children from these kind of monsters. One of the adults in the hospital is the children's yoga teacher, Leanne Lucas. Again, cheers and well wishes for your recovery. Post on a local yoga page on Facebook with an accompanying picture of Miss Lucas read, "I'm absolutely devastated. Please pray for Leanne. Leanne came on my training course in December. A beautiful, young, creative girl who was so passionate about helping children. After Monday's attack, some victims were also taken to Aintree University Hospital in Southport and Formby Hospital. The ambulance service dispatched 13 ambulances along with specialized resources." Demon's Rest says, "This is the first I've heard anything about this story." Yeah, I kind of saw that there were protests. I wasn't quite sure why, and so I had to kind of dig into it a little bit myself. Yeah, this is the UK. Yeah, this is the UK. This is yeah, Southport, UK. And so yeah, the UK erupting with protests and arrests. So let me go ahead and show this. So again, this is of course getting spun by the politicians of the UK as racism, right? We've had Tommy Robinson, along with several of the leadership of the anti-immigration crowd, because that's ultimately what's going on here. The attacker was identified. Here, let me go back to the article real quick. Let me bring this down. Go back to the article real quick. Let's see if they say anything about the. Okay, a 17-year-old boy. 17-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. He's from the village of Banks in Lancashire, but was born in Wales, Cardiff. A knife was seized. Police urged people to avoid the area while they dealt with the aftermath, but insisted there was no threat. Eyewitnesses. Let's see if the king and queen have sent their deepest sympathies. The Prince and Princess of Wales. Politicians. Yeah, they're not mentioning. Here, let me go. Jesus. They can't. They can't not politicize everything. They can't not politicize everything. I was trying to. I just typed in Southport stabbing suspect, and the first thing that pops up is the AP. Online misinformation is fueling tensions. Let's see what they say here. Oh yeah, look. The information did little to slow this lightning spread of the false name or stop right-wing influencers pinning the blame on immigrants and Muslims. Police say the name was fake, so apparently there was a false name claiming that the gentleman was the under 18 gentleman, that the 17-year-old gentleman was North African. Under British law, young people who are under criminal investigation cannot be named until they turn 18, except in very rare circumstances. Okay, so we're gonna have to. That's was that said born in Wales too, Cardiff, Wales. Okay. Well, we'll just get rid of that then, because there's no point. And we'll get rid of that as well. Okay. So yeah, we've got go back to the protest video here and watch the rest of this. Just a little more. And again, there are dozens. Yeah. Demon's Wrath. Yeah, there is nothing talking about ethnicity. Apparently, there was a. Let me go ahead and bring this down here. I did see something here. Let's do this. Southport suspect. And again, I don't want to fuel the racism and stuff here, but this is allegedly. Okay, apparently someone had showed up to the original vigil, the first vigil, with a knife and was arrested. Let's see. All of a sudden the things, okay. So again, we'll share this. This is from Daily Mail Online, and this is the individual. Again, we can't really see anything that declaratively shows motive or ethnicity. But again, to me, none of that shit's as important as both things can be true, right? You can have protests about the dangers of immigration, and you could have monsters killing little girls no matter what race they are. You could be mad about that too. I don't think the two have to be separate. You do have to be careful though. And then again, one more video I want to show here. A protest, just the police just arresting everyone at Downing Street, no matter what side of the protest they're on. Okay, I'll go ahead and remove that. But yeah, Tommy Robinson also arrested today for suspicion of terrorism. And we'll go ahead and move on. But I want to point out that it's important to look at the difference between those three protests, right? You have in Israel people protesting the right for their military to sexually abuse their prisoners. You have Venezuela, people protesting and getting arrested for exercising their political rights, for just trying to make sure that their vote counted. And in the UK, they're protesting the violence of the illegal immigration problem that they have. Whether it directly led to the deaths of these three young girls and the injuring of all of these other children and adults, time will tell. Time will tell. And I'm telling you, we should revisit this story in a year and see if they release the suspect's name. We should revisit this and see how many of these people were really affected. How many lives this monster changed, and whether or not these protesters were right to protest it. All right, folks, I've been asked to cover this, even though this is way off the rails of any topic we're going to be covering tonight. We're going to be covering this here real quick. I've been asked my opinion on this and to share my opinion on the show here. We have the new Batman show on Amazon Prime, a new Batman cartoon that has been billed and promoted as the closest thing to Batman the Animated Series, right? The closest in style, the closest in writing, the closest in quality, that they are going to stay true to the heart of what was Batman the Animated Series. And I was asked to share my opinion on this news story that came out this week of the Penguin has now been gender swapped and will now be Oswalda Cobblepot. Now, initially, I was like, look, this is just fucking Hollywood doing its Hollywood thing. And I usually don't get too worked up about gender swaps. But here's the thing. I wanted to address this from a media narrative. Now, you have to understand, that's what we do on this show. We talk about media narratives. And Demon's Rest, right. The Penguin looks like Jim Sterling. Supposed to, anyway. It's Jim Sterling with tits, apparently. But we talk about media narratives, and I'm gonna address this two ways. This is a two-pronged attack on young minds. Now, I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories of, they're trying to brainwash our kids with gender swapping and no, I'm not going there. But I want you to understand two things. One, of the new Batman universe, not this cartoon, but the movies, the new Batman universe with Pattinson. One of the most popular characters in that first movie was the Penguin. Colin Farrell did an amazing job. He's now been rewarded with his own series that people are looking forward to. Penguin has become such a relatable character in certain ways. Like, the people who are called incels, right? And this is two-pronged here. Yes, there's the gender bending whatever, but here's what they're trying to do, right? One, they're trying to erase the importance of this newly identifiable character, right? Just like they've done all the crap to the Joker the last few years. The comic books made him have a baby and all kinds of weird stuff with the Joker. Everyone was identifying with Joker after Joaquin Phoenix, and then they just had to ruin the Joker character any way they could. But also there's another layer to this. To me, all of these personality traits of the Joker. One of the comments I happened to see on Facebook. Jim Sterling always had tits. The fact. Yes, yes. One of the traits that the Penguin also has had is almost a Napoleonic complex. And anyway, so what I was getting at is one of the comments I happened to see on Facebook when somebody posted this was, kind of a male was asking the question, well, why don't we just make Renee Montoya a dude, right? Why don't we just do that? Like, if we're going to be gender swapping, let's take Renee Montoya, who's a lesbian in the comics and in every cartoon and TV show, she's been a lesbian. Let's just make her a dude. And then someone down in the comments below that replied, well, gender is key to Montoya's character. And this is what this really, I was like, well, now wait a minute. Gender is key to the character of the Penguin. Because yes, he has this almost Napoleonic complex where his need to seek wealth, right? His need to seek status and his need to do underhanded things and do whatever he can to kind of just get money and status and wealth and power in the easiest, most underhanded ways possible is so that he can build his own myth, his own legend, so that he would be popular with other people, so that other people would fawn at him, right? And don't get me wrong, it's very much a feminine thing to do, right? It is very much a feminine thing to do. But the whole point of the Penguin, the whole fucking point of the Penguin is to show how unattractive it is when men do it. Hey, we got Apocryphal World Records in the chat. Cheers and welcome. We're about to get real deep on the racial topic here in just a moment, so stay tuned. Cheers. I'm just going to finish this off with one thing in saying that yeah, it's twofold. They want to remove a character that is identifiable as traits. Hang on, sorry about that. My mic was buzzing. As dangerous traits men might have, just like Joker was showing dangerous traits that men might have, and they want to soften that character, and at the same time, they want to tell you that that men's personality traits aren't important, so let's just apply them to a woman, and now Penguin's a woman. Demon's Wrath asks in the chat, since you're on the topic of Batman, have you seen the new Deadpool movie yet? I saw it on Saturday and I hated that GD movie. All right. Yeah. I actually saw it. I didn't hate it, but again, I've never been a big Marvel guy, so I don't know how true or if it even needed to be true to whatever comic universe Deadpool might have been. I mean, because like half the point is to poke fun at timelines, universes, and multiverses, and that was half the point of the movie. And to me, that's kind of what it was. I kind of liked it for what it was. I definitely thought a lot of the jokes were cheap. Without giving too many spoilers, I really appreciated the effort to make some of the cameos mean a lot, and I definitely took great pleasure in that some of the other cameos were meant to be just a flash on the screen and be done with, and I really appreciated that too. I really enjoyed the movie. Ultimately, as a comic book movie, I give it a 5 out of 10, but as an enjoyable, entertaining comedy, I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. So, I was viewing it as a media narrative aspect, and in every way possible, the movie failed dismally in the writing department. Yes, but that's kind of the point. To me, the point of those movies is to mock movie making. And so therefore, all of the narratives, all of the storyline Like, it just needs to have like a skeleton of a storyline. I saw Vito and other people on the internet talking about plot holes as if Deadpool was, I mean, the whole point of it is parody. It's parodying itself. It's supposed to have plot holes. It's not supposed to make sense. None of it's supposed to make sense. It's written by 6 people, with the exception of the Declaration of Independence. Nothing written in committee is ever good. Yeah, I get it. And he says potholes least of his concerns. Yes. Same here. Again, I just viewed it as, did it have good setup for the jokes? I think some of the jokes did kind of go a little too thick. Like, they over explained some of the jokes. You shouldn't have to explain a joke. You shouldn't, punchlines should speak for themselves. And yeah, I did kind of get the feeling that its audience was dumb. By the way, we're going to be talking about dumb audiences later, so stay tuned for that. Cheers. But let's get into Kamala Harris. Let's talk about Kamala Harris. Kind of done with the comic books for just a moment. Oh yeah, the gay jokes. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. All right, so let's go to MSNBC, because this is an important thing that happened today. With all of the criticism that we have been giving the Secret Service, we do need to understand, and I want to ask y'all's opinion, because I don't want to make light of a scary situation, but we may have to do that here in just a minute. So here's an MSNBC report about something that happened to the Secret Service.
Breaking news concerning the Secret Service detail assigned to Vice President Harris's stepdaughter, Ella Emhoff. Kelly O'Donnell breaks the story. Kelly, what happened?
Well, we are told by Secret Service officials that on Tuesday, there were 2 vehicles that were associated with a protective detail for the stepdaughter of Vice President Kamala Harris. And she was at an establishment in Lower Manhattan, and an individual approached the vehicles, which are typically unmarked secret.
So it sounds like she was maybe eating lunch or having or maybe shopping or something inside of an establishment, they say. Okay, so it doesn't sound like she was put at risk. So, and again, so here we are. We have MSNBC reporting this, and I think, again, this is still kind of newer news, so we might have to just see if there's any follow-up, see if they try to make a bigger deal about this. We don't know, but I'm going to keep listening, because, again, Secret Service, it's in the news. Let's talk about it.
Service vehicles, and began to do some vandalism to the back of the car, namely around the license plate area, which just by our experience with dealing with protectees, those are usually plates that indicate government or police.
Wait a minute. Okay, we got to go back about 20 seconds, because I want to replay what she just said.
License plate area, which do unmarked secrets at an establishment in Lower Manhattan, and an individual approached the vehicles, which are typically unmarked. Now hear what she says here in a minute. Secret Service vehicles, and began to do some vandalism to the back of the car, namely around the license plate area, which just by our experience with dealing with protectees, those are usually plates that indicate government or police.
Lady, if your license plates say it's a government or police vehicle, it is not an unmarked car. It is therefore marked. It drives me nuts.
Kind of thing. And it is very typical that those cars are parked at a location that would be for quick, easy departure if there were any issue. And so the agents arrested the individual. Local law enforcement, I'm told, then came and was responsible for that individual and the arrest. And there was no direct impact on Ella Emhoff. We have seen how these incidents, there was one some months ago with Naomi Biden, with her protective detail, granddaughter of the president, where someone attempted to vandalize a vehicle. So these things happen, but obviously after the fact, the individual perpetrator who may not have any idea what the type of vehicle is, ends up under arrest and with some serious consequences for impacting the protection of these high-value individuals who are
Impacting the
associated with the president
protection
and the
of
vice
high
president.
value.
And certainly there's a lot of attention after the Trump assassination attempt to protect all of the families of the president, vice president, and formers.
So there you have it, folks. The Secret Service dealt with a really scary incident today of someone tinkering with their license plate. And again, all the stuff. We're supposed to believe that, yeah, this is news because it's the Secret Service. And after all the stuff that the media has been trying to tell us isn't happening, that the Trump shooter, seemingly arriving in 3 vehicles and on foot. He showed up in a van, he showed up in a sedan, he showed up on a bicycle, and he was there on foot. So yeah, I mean, all the media narratives were given about all these investigations, and we're supposed to believe that the Secret Service, the poor Secret Service, was so scared of a guy tinkering with their license plate that it's national news. So yeah, we'll look into whether or not that becomes a bigger story than it needs to be. Tinkering with the license plate. The only reason to steal one of those is to disguise another car as a police vehicle. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I definitely think the individual, I'm glad this individual got caught, arrested, whatever, and because shit, for all I know, it could be a spy or something trying to commit a false flag attack and claim to be the U.S. government or something. Yeah, what a waste. Yeah, sorry to waste your time with that. But, I did want to point it out as a media narrative because, all of these things that we're told not to worry about with the Secret Service. And then all of a sudden the media is like so focused on the Secret Service and, oh my God, the vice president's daughter may have been in harm's way. No. Okay, so Kamala Harris, this clip has been going viral, and now we're going to get to the main topic. This clip has been going viral. I'm going to ask, I won't show your comment on screen if you don't want me to, but I won't show it at all unless you later ask me to. But folks, I want you to think about it. What race is Kamala Harris? This is the talk of the internet right now. This is what everybody's talking about. And usually I try to avoid the topics that everybody's talking about, but I talk about false media narratives, and this thing has now broken through the roof of every media narrative out there, and I have to talk about it. So what race is Kamala Harris? Well, let's listen to her voice and what she's trying to be.
Helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Yes, we will. So let's get right to.
Okay, so what race did it sound like she was trying to be? All right, folks. Now, whether or not you believe that she's got African ancestry, I think is somewhat important. But ultimately, it's not important. Oh, dear Lord, I've got a friend messaging me that should be watching the show instead. Okay. Go away. There we go. Okay. So we got this report from Savannah Hernandez. So Kamala Harris, I want to kind of address this real quick because we're going to attack this from several angles. Because I definitely want to analyze the strategies of the Harris campaign, the mainstream media, and what's going on right now between these two presidential candidates. Yes, AWR. There we go. Boom. I said I wasn't going to show. Well, I didn't show your first 2 comments, so there we go. And yes, I see your comment also, Demon's Wrath. I won't have to show it, but all right, let's do this. Okay, so for the past couple weeks, we've been seeing these narratives developing, right? We saw the whole Project 2025 thing where they were trying to attribute Project 2025 to Donald Trump. And now Donald Trump's had to distance himself from some of the good ideas that were in Project 2025. and had to distance himself from Project 2025 because he didn't write Project 2025, and there were some things in there that might have been politically damaging, and he wasn't involved with Project 2025. That was a Heritage Foundation situation. That was created by the Heritage Foundation as a plea for the next president to implement these kind of policies. That wasn't Donald Trump's platform. Now, again, the question is what platform is Donald Trump running on? And what platform is Kamala Harris running on? Well, I'm going to show you in the next couple videos, Kamala Harris is running on the Idiocracy platform. Quite literally, the Idiocracy platform. They think voters are stupid. And for the most part, a lot of them are. For the most part, a lot of them are. And now we're going to see this real quick. So this is from Savannah Hernandez of Turning Point and Post Millennial. She was at the Kamala Harris rally in Georgia, and she took this video showing that the stadium wasn't, I mean, people all over the internet were posting these pictures of a packed stadium and saying, look, Kamala Harris is drawing Trump-like crowds now. What changed? You know, people must love her way more than they loved Biden. And she held this rally. And it's important to know this rally was preceded by a concert from Megan Thee Stallion and other celebrity appearances. So after the concert, Kamala Harris starts talking and giving her campaign speech. And here you're seeing half the seats were empty and people are leaving. People are just done. They saw the concert and they're peacing the fuck out. They didn't show up for this woman. They showed up. They showed up because this woman is surrounding herself with celebrities and they wanted to see celebrities. They wanted to see celebrities. They wanted to see good old American values like this. They wanted to see Punani poppin', right? That's what people came to see. Nobody gives a shit about this presidential election. Nobody in that audience gave two shits. Now, granted, a lot of people are holding Kamala signs, and yes, a lot of people did stick around, and yes, perhaps a lot of people are there for the presidential election, but I'm going to show you why they're there for the presidential election. They're there because they don't understand politics. They're there because it's all of a sudden being marketed as the popular thing. It's because the media is telling them, oh, look, it's the new hip thing, right? It's the new Tiger King. Don't you want to watch Tiger King, right? Remember that during COVID? It's like everybody's watching Tiger King. Let's all talk about Tiger King. Let's all watch Tiger King. It's the new fad. All the celebrities are on it. And if you want to see the celebrities, then you got to show up to the Kamala show. And when I say it's an idiocracy campaign, I want you to remember who the average American was in the movie Idiocracy. The movie Idiocracy was showing the average American. Remember this? You remember this?
He tried taking water from toilets, but it's secretary not sure who finds himself in the toilet now. And as history pulls down its pants and prepares to lower its ass
it's the only way
on
to
Not
keep
Sure's
people's
head,
attention.
it will be Daddy Justice who will be crapping on him this time.
We now go live to Violence Channel correspondent Formica Davis at the Extreme Court with highlights on today's trial.
The Extreme Court.
Thank you, Velveeta. Well, it started off boring and slow with
you
Not
gotta
Sure
dumb
trying
down
to
your
bullshit
language.
everyone with a bunch of smart talk. Blah, blah, blah. You gotta believe me. That part of the trial sucked. But then
Remember, when you talk about important things, it just sucks. But when you grab people's attention,
TJ
that's
just
cool.
went off. He said, "Man, whatever. The guy's guilty as shit. We all know that."
I think they did. I think they had one of those
one
too.
night of rehabilitation.
Hey, rehabilitation? One night? Doesn't sound so bad.
Not so bad, huh? Here's some highlights from last week's
Remember, this is the
rehabilitation.
news in the movie, right? And so this movie's supposed to be set 500 years in the future, right? Oh, wait, let me bring that back up because there's one more thing I want to show you. One more thing that's important. All right, so remember, this is court-ordered rehabilitation.
And who could forget that wonderful finish by rehab officer Tylenol Jones?
Tylenol Jones.
And tomorrow night looks even more better. Word is that Beef Supreme himself might come out of retirement.
Okay, so you have rehabilitation officer Beef Supreme, right? So how many steps are we from Beef Supreme rehabilitation officer from Megan Thee Stallion political campaign entertainment? I mean, how many steps are we really away from Beef Supreme? So we have these narratives, and you know what? Let me do this. What time is it? Oh shit. Shit. What I was going to do, my initial plan for the show, which got derailed because I found other things that I really needed to talk about. Let me do this. Let me play 1.5 speed. Let me play a little bit of Donald Trump's appearance at the NABJ conference. That's the National Association of Black Journalists. I'm going to play a little bit of that real quick. I'm going to try to get to a couple of the important parts here. And I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed because we do need to kind of hurry through some of this.
Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir.
The elephant in the room.
I did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort.
So, yeah, you criticize a lot of minorities. What's that all about?
So my question, sir, now that you are asking...
Hey, we got Sanglan 86 in the chat.
Why should black
I didn't notice. Sorry.
After you have used...
I'm sorry. I got distracted. We got Sanglan 86 in the chat. And Kamala's running on the It Wasn't Me platform. Yeah. Cheers and welcome, Sanglan. I'm sorry, man. You've been chatting away, and I missed you.
Language like that.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say.
Yeah. Are you a racist?
Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
Now, this is, to me, this is the wrong way to answer this question.
Opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this
because again, we're in idiocracy times now. So talking about all the things your presidency did for black folks isn't a way to relate to black folks.
Berkeley black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my...
Yeah, instead of saying I did X, Y, Z, I said, just say, I love black folks, and they love me. I meet black folks all the time on the campaign trail. They love to shake hands with me. My criticisms of all the people you were just talking about, those were criticisms of them as a person, not of their race. And, I reject this narrative.
My opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
I would love
think
you to
it's a
answer the
very
question on
nasty
your
question.
rhetoric and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters
question.
can trust you with another
I
4
have been
years.
the best president for the black population since Abraham
There we
Lincoln.
go.
That's my
There we go.
answer.
That's all you had to say to begin with. All of this, look at my record, look at the laws I passed.
In a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to
All
other
you're
questions
doing
here.
is letting the
Some of your
fact
own
checkers
supporters,
rewrite the
including
narrative.
Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who was the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
I'm going to slow this down.
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
Diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define.
She won't define what DEI is, because all he's just going to say, if she defines it, is, well, isn't that exactly what Joe Biden said he wanted to hire? Isn't that exactly the running mate Joe Biden said he wanted?
Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time.
See, I wish right there he would have said no, but like you say, no, but I do think it's interesting that, and then go on to say the things he's about to say, because you have to at least acknowledge that, while yes, she did get to a lot of places because of other skills she has. Like, she did get to some of her steps in life due to actual skills to some degree. So, like, I don't think it's only because she's a Black woman.
I'm indirectly, not directly, very much. And
well, he did say
she was
indirectly, not
always
directly as
of
much.
Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian
There we
heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known
She
as
happened to
Black.
turn Black.
So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black
I
woman. She went to a
respect either
historically Black
one.
college.
There's the
I
show
respect
title
either
today,
one,
folks.
but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she went.
Cheers
she
to my buddy
became
Cool
a
Frog.
Black
Just to
person.
be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty
Good
tone.
seeing you in
It's
the
a direct
chat.
question,
Good having
sir.
you by.
Do you
Thank you
believe
for
that
swinging
Vice
by.
President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I really
Republicans have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided
Well, this is Harris Faulkner of
the
Fox.
lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this
Oh, their
moment
audio
where we
just
are,
improved. Awesome.
why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking,
I'm going to
frankly,
go ahead and speed it back
a lot
up.
of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are Black. I will tell you that
A lot of the journalists in this room are
from the
Black.
border
I
are
think
millions
most of
and
them, if
millions
not all of
people
them, are.
that happen to be taking Black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a Black job, sir?
A Black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're
can I-
taking the employment away from Black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably
What is a
15,
Black
16,
job,
17
Behe?
million people. I have a
Perfect
feeling it's much
answer to
more than
that.
that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the Black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking Black jobs and Hispanic jobs. And frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our
Okay,
country.
so I'm gonna go ahead and stop that now, because we saw the important parts, and yeah, so the part where he talked about her race, the part where he talked about Kamala's race and how, she kind of suddenly became Black, has been a point of contention, and this has been an ongoing story all over the internet, and now we have hit pieces from MSNBC. Trump falsely questions whether Harris is Black. We have the Associated Press Donald Trump falsely suggested Kamala Harris had misled voters about her race. Right? And then down here, Trump says he didn't know Kamala Harris was black. Well, if he didn't know, then how is he falsely suggesting things? If he didn't know. We're going to get more into that here in just a moment. One more video I want to show you, just slightly off topic. We'll get back into the race here in just a second. Slightly off topic. This is another video that came out of that. So after the hateful things or the twisted narrative that reporter, and that's the same reporter that had cornered Nancy Pelosi a couple weeks ago, that Nancy Pelosi kind of brushed off, right? That's the same black woman. I forget her name right off the top of my head, but anyway, it's the same reporter. I'll get her name in just a second. After the way she opened the interview with Donald Trump, Trump then did this to her. Snatches her water bottle and cranks it really tight and hands it and sticks it back on her table when she's not looking. Be careful how you talk to Donald Trump. He will get you one way or another. Oh, folks, you can't make this shit up. It's awesome. So, is Kamala Harris using blackface? Is she? The question is she a Rachel Dolezal? Right? Is she making up being black? Let's ask Judge Joe Brown.
And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris.
He met Donald Harris.
The problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian,
that was a pretty
daddy
thick
says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors. How did she get to be black?
Yeah.
And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was in fact a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin into India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that. But where it says race, they put national origin in Jamaica by mistake.
So there we got Judge Joe Brown giving his take on it. And we had Laura Loomer following up by posting the birth certificate on Twitter, on X. State of California, vital record, County of Alameda. Kamala Iyer Harris, female single. See, now it doesn't list the baby's nationality or heritage, but it does list mother of child, Jamala Kopalan, Caucasian. Birthplace, India. 26 years old. Father, Donald Jasper Harris, Jamaican. Birthplace, Jamaica. Age 26. So I want to point out, I brought this up, and I brought this whole topic up because I want to talk about the idiocracy politics going on here. One more video real quick I want to play. Here's Kamala Harris. One more time, Kamala Harris. We heard her talking to black audiences earlier. Now here's her talking to Indian
audience. It is my true, distinct pleasure to introduce the first senator, and I'm not going to say this, the first senator of Indian American heritage in the history of U.S. Senate.
So it's been a really long week.
Yeah, really long week.
And I'm really glad to be here.
Tackles Kamala. Tackles Kamala. Tackling Kamala.
But I want to thank you. And my Chitti is here, my mother's youngest sister. Chinni Mahalakshmi Subhash is here, and I want to thank her.
So this is how she talks to an Indian audience.
Evening. Please, Chitti, will you wave?
It is.
Okay, let's go ahead and bring that down. All right. Yeah, folks. So I one last video I want to play here on the topic, because this is going to lead us to the next topic. This is going to lead into the rant about all of this. This rant's going to cover all of this. So I want you to stay tuned for this rant, because we're going to address all of this stuff in the rant. So here is Karine Jean-Pierre. Yes, a regular Justin Trudeau. You know what? Let me pour a little more whiskey for this. I'm going to need to pour a little more whiskey. Just a little more. Something I never do on Mild's Culture Plate is drink more than 2 ounces of whiskey, unless, we have a bunch of people coming in to say hi. But I've got to loosen up for this one. And we have officially finished the Jefferson Ocean, people. Jefferson's Ocean is gone. So here's Karine Jean-Pierre when asked by Steve Doocy about all of the things we just talked about.
Peter. If I can ask you about something that's happening at the NAPJ right now, Donald Trump is speaking to some of the reporters who were assembled there, and right out of the gates there was what can best be described as a contentious exchange where the former president said, I'm asking this through the lens of someone who represents the president, vice president, not someone who has to speak as a campaign question.
Yeah, he's not asking about her as a representative of the Harris campaign. He's asking her as a representative of the vice president, Kamala Harris. Make sure you clarify that.
He says of Kamala Harris, the vice president, she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago, and she happened to turn black, he said, and now she wants to be known as black. So I didn't know, is she Indian or is she black? Wow. She has always, this is unclear. I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she went black. Your response to those comments?
Your response?
He is a candidate, so I'm going to be super careful.
He's a candidate, so I'm going to be super careful.
I have more to say. I certainly have more to say.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
As a person of color, as a black woman who is in this position that is standing before.
So again, she reiterates, I am a black woman. I am a black woman. As a person of color, as a black woman. She starts off with this. Now, notice all of these people, they start off when someone has to say that, they're immediately going to say something that's like, wait, you said what? So keep listening.
Before you at this podium, behind this lectern, what he just said, what you just read out to me is repulsive. It's insulting.
Repulsive. It's insulting.
And, no one has any right to tell someone who they are, how they identify. That is no one's right.
Really? It's no one's right to tell someone else how they identify. I mean, look, We all have eyes. We all have ears. We all can see, taste, smell, right? We all know what reality is. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue with this argument here.
It is someone's own decisions.
Someone's race is their own decision. This is coming straight from the White House, folks. Straight from the White House. Your race is your own decision. My God, when Michael Malice used to do the bit where he's like, I'm a black lesbian, I could not fucking imagine this. I could not fucking imagine this. Michael Malice, you heard it straight from the White House. Michael Malice is a black lesbian.
I'll add this. Only she can speak to her experience. Only she can speak to what it's like. She's the only person that can do that. And I think it's insulting for anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a former leader, a former president. It is insulting.
You know, again, I want you to read between the lines here. What she's saying, as long as you don't have white skin, you're invited to the barbecue. That's what she's saying. As long as you don't have white skin. If you have white skin, well, you know, then we can tell you what you are. Then we can tell you you're not included. If you ain't got white skin, you're invited to the barbecue. This is again, the narrative that you saw earlier of the lady putting President Trump in the hot seat with the question about DEI. And again, to me, that whole thing. Let's watch the last 8 seconds of this real quick, and then I'll get into the rant.
And we have to she is the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We have to put some respect on her name.
No. Do not respect politicians ever. Do not respect politicians, and especially do not respect them because of their race and gender. Right? Again, we're trying to get to the point where, again, race and gender aren't the first fucking things we're talking about with these people. And that's going to be an overarching theme of my rant here. So, again, Donald Trump had to address the idea of whether or not Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. And ultimately, it comes down to, well, are you trying to pander to your own skin color to get ahead in life? And I think through all of the clips we've seen today, whether it be Indian, whether it be black, I don't care. I almost agree with Karine Jean-Pierre there. Look, you want to identify as a cockatoo, identify as a cockatoo. The U.S. is now 90% black and Cook County is 100% Asian. Okay. Cheers to Cook County. Ultimately, the question comes is, can you do your job? Can you do the job? Like diverse, whether or not you're a DEI hire, a diversity hire, matters none. Now, granted, in an ideal world, candidacy for things, opportunities would be open to everyone. In an ideal world, in the world that Donald Trump claims he wants to build, right? Because again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not going to just say, the utopia Donald Trump is building. No, the America Donald Trump claims he wants to live in is one of opportunity, allegedly. One where everyone has opportunities, where opportunities aren't limited by, you wouldn't have black folks and white folks competing for jobs with immigrants. The black, the white, and the legal immigrant would all three have jobs, allegedly, under what Trump says he wants to do. So this idea of we need to be prioritizing these things, no. How about we just have a successful economy and a successful country where there are opportunities for everyone, no matter who they are, and then we won't have to compete with one another. This whole narrative, the entire racism at play here, is divide and conquer. Now, I want to be very clear here. I follow a lot of accounts on Twitter, on Rumble. I follow a lot of channels of a lot of people who talk a lot about race. These are very unapologetic white people who love the peacefulness and the hardworkingness of what they view as the white race. And I'm telling you, folks, I couldn't disagree with them more. I encountered my own situation of racism where I was essentially told by one of my bosses that he doesn't like hiring white people because a lot of white people are lazy and they don't work as hard as black folks. Now, honestly, I thought that was I thought that was double-edged racism, right? I thought on the one hand he was being racist against me as a white guy because, he really didn't get to see what I could have accomplished. Like, I quit on that guy within a couple of months. He didn't really get to see the depth of my skills. I was kind of still learning the job and still learning them. And it wasn't months, it was weeks. It was like 2 weeks I worked for that guy and I quit. But also, again, the bigotry of low expectations, the idea that, well, all of these minorities I hire, well, they'll just come to work and work like my slave and won't have any questions and won't, they're just here for a paycheck. They'll just, you work them to death and they'll just do whatever you ask them to and they'll collect a paycheck. To me, that was what he was saying to me when he was saying he didn't like white people because they didn't work as hard. But there are a lot of minorities out there who do work hard. There are a lot of minorities out there who do try to better themselves, who do try to break the stereotypes of their community. So I do disagree with a lot of these white apologist channels and YouTube channels out there. What we demand, right? The difference between race and culture. What we demand is a culture that expects more of us, that expects more out of people than to be, what those stereotypes tell people they have to be, right? That's ultimately what we're striving for. And so if these people on these certain channels out there think it's race, okay, whatever. But let's just talk about our ideals. Let's talk about our morals. Let's talk about the things we should be achieving to be a great nation and figure out the best way to get there and realize that, whether this is a racist thing to say or not, it's not going to be twerking. We can't twerk ourselves to election wins. And so you got, where did that go? Here, you got this. Right? Is this shaking your ass fix our country? It doesn't have to be a racial thing, right? I could be showing Taylor Swift or white women showing their ass. We've shown a lot of white women showing their ass on this show before. Does that fix the country? No. Yeah, Sangline 86 correct in the chat. Like the idiots that hire Seventh Day Adventists thinking they'll work every Sunday. Yeah. Again, allegedly under Donald Trump, because again, I don't think he did as good of things as he thought he did the first time around. Like, I have a lot of reasons to criticize and be skeptical of Donald Trump, but like I've said, even though I'm not a Trump supporter, right now he has my vote for what he's done. Right now he has my vote as the better of 4 shitty candidates right now. I initially really wanted to vote for Bobby Kennedy Jr., but I've since seen a lot of things he said about guns and a lot of things he said about a lot of topics that make me nervous. And right now, I mean, and again, without getting into the whole chance of winning, because I think that's a whole misnomer. If a lot of people just said, yeah, I like the guy, I'd vote for him, he would, again, separate from the idiocracy and the media creating narratives and making people think things are popular that aren't popular, like Kamala Harris. Separate from that, I do think Bobby Kennedy would have a chance to win if the media would just cover him as a legitimate candidate who has a chance to win. But that being said, there's one real big important difference I want you folks to take away from this campaign. And that is that we just spent about 30, 45 minutes talking about race, talking about the race of a candidate, especially while all throughout the thing, I'm talking about idiocracy and how real thought, putting real thought into your country, putting real thought into the decisions you make and the decisions your country makes and your political campaigns and things like that. This real thought doesn't exist anymore. How it's all idiocracy, how it's all smoke screens and narratives and whatever the media is talking about and whatever everyone on Twitter's talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, we just had 3 days where every Democrat online was talking about how weird JD Vance was and Donald Trump. And they were all concerned that JD Vance was making comments about Democrats being a bunch of cat ladies, saying it was racist and sexist, because the media came together with a narrative and beat the drum. The NPC meme is real, folks. There are a bunch of people out there who are just mindless zombies waiting for the programming to be downloaded into their brain. And whether that's via a TikTok campaign, whether it's a celebrity calling Kamala Harris a brat, or whether it's a bunch of celebrities coming out all at the same time. And I'm not showing this on screen because even though I showed Megan Thee Stallion's butt there for a while, I tried to refrain from showing really disgusting things. But you had George Takei of Star Trek fame coming out and calling Trump and JD Vance weird. And there are several screenshots. You can find them all over Twitter right now. Several screenshots of George Takei on radio shows where people have, were taking pictures and video in the studio, just sticking his hand down the genitals of naked men and, just the most disgusting things you can think. And these are the people that are calling Donald Trump and JD Vance weird. These are the narratives we have. So again, we live in a world of idiocracy, of media narratives, of spin, right? And rarely do people actually think about what they're saying, what's being said, and what the intent behind the words are. When 99% of the actual intent of what the actual message that's coming across is, hey, don't you want to be a part of the cool kids club? You don't want to be weird, do you? Right? The same people, the same fucking people that are telling us to celebrate weirdness, celebrate being queer. Right? Insert L7s. The masses' asses are here. Or masses are asses here. You insist it's pronounced like too gay. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know. I'm missing some context here. But anyway, the question then becomes, well, what's the substance? What's the substance, right? This is all the sprinkly ice cream. This is all the things to get your attention, right? The neon signs, right? The deep fried appetizers. Where's my steak? Just give me a steak and some green beans. I don't need deep fried appetizers. I want steak and green beans. Where's the steak and green beans? No, we want to serve you some deep fried jalapeno peppers and some deep fried mozzarella sticks. And, we're going to get you some tortilla chips that have been deep fried. We'll give you that. That'll be that. We'll bring your dinner later, but first, here you go. Here's some good tasting stuff. And you want some ice cream with sprinkles on it too. This is all the window dressing, but nobody's talking about the real issue here. And the real issue here is that nobody's talking about real issues. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were to go to your web browser right now, I'm not telling you to do this. I'll do this for you. But feel free to do this to make sure that what I'm showing you is actually correct. You can feel free. You can do this. This is me doing this. You go to your web browser right now and type KamalaHarris.com. This is what you're greeted with. Fundraising deadline. Can she count on you to chip in today? Oh, $25 up to $5,000. And you can pre-select 47, 100, and 250. Oh, 47, because she wants to be the 47th president. Oh, okay. Too gay, too kai. Okay, that's what Sanglant was saying. He pronounces it too gay, too K. George Takei, too gay. Okay, get it. First one's just a funny song, music video. Green beans. Most people want broccoli. Good on you for wanting green beans. I love them. Yep. I like broccoli. Yes, I like broccoli as well. But with a steak, I like green beans. Endless ads on YouTube for the Kamala campaign. But I want you to follow me here. We're 2 clicks here. We're gonna show. Okay, I'm gonna close this asking for money here, and we'll go to the main website. Oh, look, the money asking is still there. We have Meet Kamala Harris, Take Action, Store. Wait, where's Platform? Okay, we have an email list here. Give your phone number, zip code, and email address. Store, donate by mail, fax, work with us, privacy rights. Okay, wait, let's look under fax real quick. I donated. What's the victory fund? Requirements to vote, donate. Okay, anything on policy? Anything on policy? Nope, nothing on policy. Let's go back. Let's click the Meet Kamala Harris. Okay. Voted her career to fighting for people. Daughter of parents who brought her to civil rights marches in a stroller. Bring our economy back. Blah, blah, blah. She led on legislation that's passed. Attorney General, her career. Oh, wait, January 20th. What? If we do all parts, she'll make history. Nothing on policy. No policy. Donate. No policy. Okay. So, folks, what happens if you go to DonaldJTrump.com? Share this tab instead. Okay, here we go. DonaldJTrump.com. Trump Vance. Oh, look. Okay, so you got the obvious homepage click logo here. In the very next thing to the right, Platform. Oh, look at this. Okay, they got a link to the Republican Party platform. Okay, so you can check out what the whole party says. And then you have Trump's 20 core promises: seal the border, deport, end inflation, make America an energy producer, stop outsourcing, tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips, defend the Constitution, including the right to religion, bear arms, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and Middle East, build a missile defense shield over our entire country, end the weaponization of government against people, stop the migrant crime epidemic, rebuild our cities, strengthen, modernize our military, making it without question the strongest in the world, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Unfortunately, I don't like that one. We need to do away with the Federal Reserve. Fight for Social Security and Medicare with no cuts. Okay, so remember all the propaganda that says Trump and Republicans want to kill Social Security. There we go. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate. There's been a narrative this week that why is Elon Musk supporting Trump? He wants to kill electric vehicles. He doesn't want to kill electric vehicles. He wants to get rid of the mandate so that companies like GM, who don't want to make electric vehicles, won't be competing with the companies like Tesla that do. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, and other inappropriate sex, race, or political content on children. Keep men out of women's sports. Deport pro-Hamas radicals. Make our college campuses. And see, I don't agree. I mean, yeah, some of them. Yes, you can do away with those who are here on education visas, maybe. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship, and unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. And then read more, and then this goes to, oh God, it brings up a whole, you click that and it brings up a whole PDF of detailed policy, right? So remember back earlier in the show where I said the media was trying to pin Project 2025 on Donald Trump? I want you folks to think about this. Demon's Wrath said, hang on a second. I'm sorry, I didn't. That arrow, the same election fortification curve during last election. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Hang on, let me bring that back up. Oh, shit. It is. You have the... Oh, my God. That's what it's going to look like on election day. That upward curve there. Holy shit. You're right, Demon's Wrath. Oh, my God. And then Sangla says, what happened to campaign contribution limits? Minimum, the Fed needs a full cavity audit. Yeah. Okay, so let me bring this back down and finish with the thought I was having. So again, remember, the Kamala Harris campaign came out swinging with the, Trump is Project 2025, right? Immediately attacking Trump on policy that wasn't his. And yet, still today, we have went completely through the Kamala Harris website, found no whiff of actual policy. Just, this is what we did. Hey, you remember when she was vice president, right? You remember when she was senator, right? You remember when she was attorney general? Oh, look how much people liked her back then. No actual fucking policy. Nothing about what she's going to do for the country. Folks, this is why you have Megan Thee Stallion. This is why you have celebrities rallying in support of her. And then... And it's going to kill me if I don't, what the hell? Hang on, let me just Google this. Yeah, people are... People were upset that Megan Thee Stallion was using X-rated lyrics. DJ Quavo was the other guy. Let me search for Quavo here. Who is this person? I have no idea who this person is. Yes. So when you asked about a local rapper, apparently this individual, Quavo, had also performed at the Kamala Harris rally. So this is, so that's why you have Megan Thee Stallion. That's why you have Quavo. That's why you have all these celebrities surrounding Kamala Harris. Because that's her policy. Her policy is, look at me, I'm black. Her policy is, look at me, I'm what's popular. Her policy is, look at me, I'm not Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are weird. This is the political campaign. Why? Because the Kamala Harris campaign, the mainstream media, the Democrat Party, and for the most part, the Biden administration They all think you're too idiocracied out, right? That all we care about are football games and rappers and twerking, and that none of us vote for our actual policies. That we all want to vote for what's popular and what's cool, right? We want to vote for Beef Supreme. We want to vote for Megan Thee Stallion. We want to vote for what Quavo thinks is cool. We don't care about what's right. Meanwhile, millions of Americans, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Eastern Indian, and people from all kinds of European nations who've come here and migrated legally are sick of seeing our culture, our country, our economy being destroyed by the people who think that we're all just too stupid to see through it. And don't get me wrong, they're betting the farm that we're all too stupid to see through it. They're betting the farm that the 50% of idiots out there are going to take their ass to the polls because Megan Thee Stallion shook her ass and said, go do it. Someone says he's named after a dog disease. Oh, wait, that's parvo. Never mind. Yeah. They're betting the farm that we're already at idiocracy levels of stupidity and that nobody's going to vote for America. So again, me, someone who I try to be critical of Donald Trump, I really fucking do. Right now, he's the one in this campaign talking about the issues. Meanwhile, everyone else, when I say everyone, I mean the Harris campaign and the media and the mainstream, all they have is Donald Trump bad. Here, look at rapper's butt. Here, look at black woman. You like black people, right? If you don't, are you a racist? It's very surface level caveman thinking that they are appealing to. And folks, again, you have to reject these media narratives. They will destroy the country. I'm not telling you to vote for Donald Trump. I'm telling you to make sure that yourself, your children, people around you, like if all they care about is what's cool, right? What's hip, what their favorite rapper's supporting. Show them rappers that disagree with this bullshit. Right? Act like they are the weirdos that they are. Act like the mainstream media are the weirdos because they are. Make sure you are vocal because that's the only way we beat the mainstream media. And if you want to get vocal, please help. Please help people on YouTube, Twitter, X, people on Rumble especially, who are trying to help point out media narratives. And you can help me by clicking that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, you can help me by clicking the follow or subscribe button, depending on which thing you're watching on. I'm not asking for money, but if you want to send money, I will definitely accept it. Please share this off platform. Let someone else see this. It's important that I get people here who are ready to combat the media narrative. Now, granted, I've had a lot of lame shows lately where I just ramble about whatever's on Twitter. But every once in a while, one of these things start reverberating and echoing through the zeitgeist of what's going on the internet. and everything starts to come together, and my brain just sees right fucking through it. And I want to reach out to people, and I want to shake them awake. And the only way I can do that is if the word gets spread. So please share this on other platforms. Click that like button. And if you're new here, please watch a second video. The algorithms really love those 3 things, and I will never get more than a few views if I don't break this algorithm prison with some entertaining content. If you've disagreed or if you've agreed with anything I've said here, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And show back up here next time. Usually it's 6 p.m. Central, Wednesdays and Saturdays. I might wind up doing a Friday stream this week instead of Saturday. Kind of got some plans on Saturday that's going to cause my schedule to be different. I will not be doing a show this Saturday. But if you follow me down in the social media, down in the description, if you're watching me on YouTube or Rumble, down in the description are links to all my social media. If you're following me on YouTube, you're following me on X, you're following me on Facebook, I will let people know if I'm going to go live or what changes to the schedule are being made. I will try to let people know as soon as I have a clearer picture, as I do with any time my show has to be rescheduled. So please follow me on those platforms. Follow me here. Click that like button. And again, be informed citizens. Follow independent media. Once again, thank you all for coming. Cheers. And oh, that one was a heavy pour. Oof. Cheers and thank you for coming by. Thank you to Sanglant, Demon's Wrath. Thank you to Apocryphal World Records, and thank you to Cool Frog. Thank you to everybody that showed up. It's always good having y'all around. It definitely makes... I still want to throw the word out there. If anyone's interested in coming on as a guest, feel free to let me know. I do like bouncing things off of people. That's why I love the chat. I love bouncing things off the chat. So yeah, feel free to let me know if you ever want to be a guest. We can work something out. Apparently right now, Kamala Harris is giving a campaign rally in Houston. We'll look into that maybe for the next show. Till then, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Demon's Wrath says, you don't want me on your show. I'll start saying messed up stuff. Well, maybe we could do a special show that's just on Rumble or something. Either way. He says very not for YouTube friendly stuff. Yeah, well, we can potentially do that. If you have an idea, shoot me the idea. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those haters. Gotta outlast the haters. Just a side note, as I'm wrapping up the show, I had a hater approach me today and accuse me of having negative intentions for standing up for myself. I had a hater today, and I'm going to outlast him. So outlast those haters. Don't get any on you, and if you do, rub that shit in real good. I'll catch you next time on Mild's Culture Plate. Like I said, please stay tuned down in the description to the social media. Please stay tuned to that social media for notification on when that next stream is going to be. Till then, see you next time. Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Peace.